So remarketing. Now, I showed you how cookies work, and what's going on here is when somebody lands on your website and someone leaves, you know, you've installed a cookie on their website, that allows Google to tag that person such that when the user leaves and goes to a different website, like perhaps, I don't know, dailymail.com or thesun.com, somewhere that gets lots of traffic where they're likely to visit, you can say, you can show your ad on the website. You can literally show your ad on the dailymail.com, such that you're going to try and entice them to come back to your website and hopefully complete the purchase. So it's a really powerful way of, if you're a small business, first of all, it's a really powerful way to create an online presence and making, you know, to make yourself look bigger than you really are. It, you know, because they're going to see your ads appearing everywhere, all over the place, in, you know, big places like the Huffington Post, in the Daily Mail, etc. And for the people who don't know very much, they won't be able to know whether that's a Google ad or whether that's a you know, an ad that, you know, you've paid for to appear in the Daily Mail, which, you know, you actually have done indirectly. So you can appear almost everywhere using remarketing. In fact, you can do it such that you're following the user around, so that wherever they go, they will see your ad. And this is a really powerful strategy, not just for making yourself look bigger than you are, but also for improving your return on ad spend. So Yankee Candles, a high street candle store, they did a campaign. They had an online website as well. They did a campaign focusing on abandoned shopping carts only, because you don't really want to show your advert to everybody who lands on your website, because that's just wasteful. You're better off showing it to people who are the most likely to take action, and people who have added something to a shopping basket are the people who are probably going to complete, right, if you push them to. So they targeted people who had abandoned shopping carts, and about 10% of the 41,000 people came back with a 600% higher conversion rate than average. So it's a really powerful strategy. I've yet to see a remarketing campaign fail. Really, they're some of the best campaigns that you can run. And the first thing you need to do is a two-part process. The first thing you need to do is identify, at least to yourself and in your Google Analytics account, who you're targeting. You know, are you targeting everybody? Probably you shouldn't do. Are you targeting people who went to a specific page? Are you targeting people who spent a certain amount of time on a page? Are you targeting people who abandoned a shopping cart? And in lead generation land, that looks like the analog for that would be something like somebody who landed on the contact page, scrolled down to the bottom of the contact page, but didn't contact you. And then also, once you've done that, once you've tagged this, once you've created this audience list, you then import this list into your Google Ads account, and then you create a campaign specifically focusing on this audience. And you want to use images and text to as well. And let's run through a demonstration then. Oh, and also, if you want to get in touch with me to get some help on this, then those are my details. Okay, so here we are in Google Analytics. I've got a demonstration account here for you. So what we've got, we go down into the admin section. This is what you'll see when you go into your Google Analytics account. We want to go into admin. On the right-hand column, you want to go into goals. Now, we want to say, create a new goal. I want to create a goal of people who have, say, I want to create a custom goal. I want to target people who spent longer than, say, 2 minutes on the website. And you've got destination goals as well, but we're going to go for a duration goal. Say someone who spent greater than, say, 2 minutes. And we can assign a value here, but I'm not going to do that here because I don't know what value to assign here. Just know that if you've got loads and loads of data and you know what each visitor is worth to you, you can work out what a 2-minute visitor looks like in terms of value. I can verify the goal, so I can see that actually it's finite. Okay, it's greater than 0%. So that's telling me that 15% of people who visited in the last 7 days spent longer than 2 minutes on the website. So this is just a quick sanity check to make sure that the goal is working. Okay. Sometimes you'll find that it's not working, in which case you've got something broken. So I'd urge you to fix that. But if you've got something there that's working, then this should be greater than 0. Save. So now I've created a goal of people who are spending longer than 2 minutes per session. I've also created some other goals for people who have added to carts and people who are getting to checkout. Now, let's talk about remarketing. Who do we want to retarget? I want to retarget someone who has spent more than 2 minutes but hasn't added a product to cart. So let's see what that looks like. You go into the middle column. So you've gone into admin again, gone into the middle column, and you want to go into audience definitions, audiences. Okay, so I've got all my audiences here that I've created. I want to create a brand new audience. So create new. And I want to go into advanced conditions. Now, I want to leave this. So we've gone into the audience builder. So just to kind of really reiterate that. I don't want to target all users. Okay. I want to target a specific audience. I want to go into here, go into the audience builder, and we go into conditions. I want to target people who have completed specific goals. So scroll down until we find our goal that we just created. Here we go. Spent greater than 2 minutes per session. Goal 5 completions. And so we want people who've performed this goal greater than 0, because we want to make sure that they have completed that goal. And also go to goal conversions again. So we're adding a second criterion as well to qualify them. Adding to cart completed. People who have completed and added to cart equals 0. So it's a bit of a Boolean thinking here. What you've got going on is we're targeting people who have spent longer than 2 minutes on the website, but who have not added to cart. Okay, so added to cart equals 0. So none of these people have added to cart. And we apply. And we want to set a membership duration. So users over the past 7 days. This isn't going to work. You're going to see 0 here because there's no data at the moment. Okay, so don't worry about this if you don't see anything there. But how long do we want to hold this audience? Because audiences can go stale. You know, if this goal was completed 5 months ago, it's not going to be worth very much to me now. So I would say 30-day is pretty good. If you've got a high traffic website, e-commerce, then go for 7 days if possible. But 30 days is not a bad place to start as a membership duration for this audience. So spent greater than 2 minutes, but cart. So I've created this new audience. And where do we want to publish this audience? Now, of course, we want to publish it within the analytics account, but we also want to publish it into the Google Ads account, because that will tell us, that will allow us to target that this audience in Google Ads. So we're now publishing this, and it's published. As you can see, it says success over here. So now we go into campaigns, into our, once we get there. I'm going to create a new campaign. And here, we once again go through the same steps as we did before, creating a new campaign. And what we'll do here is go for a display ad, because now we want to show this ad, across the board on all websites, not just on Google. So we want to go into the display network, and I want to go for a standard display campaign. Okay, we can go for a smart display campaign. I want to go for a standard display campaign, and here website. That's good. I'm going to call this a remarketing campaign. I want to name the audience here as well. This is just telling me who I'm targeting. So when I see the campaign in my long list of campaigns in Google Ads, I can instantly identify the campaign. And this is going to be the display network only. And I'm going to focus on. Now, the location doesn't matter now. I mean, you can indeed target them, within your location, but because you've already identified individuals now, the location targeting is less important. But we're going to leave it with United Kingdom. That's fine. Language is in English. I want to go for clicks because I don't like to focus on conversions initially. And we're going to go for £1 a click, say. So we've set the campaign, the bidding strategy to maximize clicks as per our campaign name. And we've also set a maximum cost per click limit as well of £1. And for budget, we can go for, say, £10. And then ad group, and here we go. If we go into the audiences, call this ad group something like remarketing display ads. And if we go into the audiences, it should automatically detect the people that we sent here. Unfortunately, it hasn't imported yet, but it will do. It will just take some time. So it might take a few minutes to show up. But once that's done, here we are, spent greater than 2 minutes, but not added to cart. Now I'm only focusing my ads on these people. And as you can see, 0 impressions because actually the audience hasn't been built yet. The size is 0, yeah? And one thing you need to know is that remarketing display ads will only show for an audience that has 100 members or more. I can then further qualify my ads as well to make sure that I'm targeting only specific ages within this audience, genders, parental status, but also household income. Now, this is only available in the US, not in the UK. Targeting expansion, I would leave the expansion off. Around here is probably fine. You can make it less targeted by going and clicking on more reach. I would avoid doing that in the beginning. You want to keep it as granular as possible. And then I will leave the dynamic ads. But now we need to put in some images. So here is the website. You want to put in the HTTP bit as well. Otherwise, I'll get the error message here. And then headlines, you can have any headline you like. So let's go with something like I spend a little bit more time, if I were you, on crafting really high quality headlines. Google is just basically going out there and choosing things that it sees on my website. And this really isn't the worst place to start. You can have about 5. I've got 4 there. And you can have a long headline as well. Again, I'll spend a bit more time crafting something decent. That's what you want to have there. Just fill in something that's sensible, and descriptions as well. Google's just proposing a few things, but again, I will spend some time to make this as decent as it can be. And description name, what I want to have there is okay. And the images now. So we're going to add some images. If you have some videos, by all means, add some videos. Now, Google can scan the URL to find some images. So, for example, okay, I want to use that one. You can also use the logo image as well. Yeah. 4 or 5 images is normally fine. I've got some generic ones here. I like that one. I'm going to use that one. And also that one. What I would do actually is, if you can actually go out there and create your own images that are perhaps better than the ones you put on your website, specific things that are tailored to ads. There's a great resource like Canva you can use to craft adverts, and you can upload them yourself. You've also got stock images as well that you can use. I've got my assets here as well. Recently used one of these ones here to add some personality to the whole thing. And great, so we've got all the images now. Save. We've got the headline, the descriptions, and add to ad group. Got our ad, create campaign. So we now have a remarketing campaign set up. And this campaign isn't going to show until the audience acquires more than 100 members. But once you've got it, you're good to go. It will follow people around the internet, basically. When once it kicks in, it will follow people around the internet to try and get you to try and get them to click on the ads. So it's been a long session, guys. Thank you for your patience. Let's run through a couple of questions. We've got a little bit of time left over, so let's run through a couple of questions. Bear with me. So Victoria, you're asking about self-coaching courses. And exclude some courses. You're offering self-coaching courses and would like to exclude some courses which appear, most of which train people to be a coach. what you can do, if there are things that so Victoria, it's a great question, by the way. So what I would do is, if you can't find keywords to qualify search queries, you can often use audiences. So let me give you an example. So I was doing some work with an estate agent who was running a lettings, agency as part of their, one of their services. And the problem they were having was they kept getting people, say, looking for searches like lettings agent Milton Keynes. Now, there are two kinds of people who search for that kind of keyword. You've got people who are trying to be a tenant, and you've also got people who are trying to let out their property. The keyword on its own is insufficient to make that discrimination. So what I did was, what they wanted to do was target people who are trying to let out their property, landlords. So what I did was I went into Google, and they had a lot of trouble with their campaign. They couldn't get it to work at all. So what I did instead was excluded certain audience groups. I excluded people who were renting. I excluded students, and I excluded non-homeowners, because it's very unlikely that someone is going to be a landlord if they haven't got a home themselves. And overnight, their campaign was transformed. Yeah, just by making those exclusions, it suddenly made it very, very specific to who they were targeting. So I hope that answers your question. Maybe you can, if you can't use, because I agree with you, it's a difficult one to identify on courses, on coaching courses alone. But what you can do instead is maybe think about maybe somebody who self-hypnosis audience groups, stuff like that, or maybe you can use whether someone's got a business to qualify your searches better. So just think slightly outside of the box. There is my advice.